So, this is a bit of a weird topic for me to address. It almost seems like a celebrity gossip kind of fluff piece topic, but it also sort of isn't. So, today we're going to be talking about Rose McGowan's increasingly bad opinions, her bad takes. Um, so, I want to start off by saying there are many things to discuss regarding Rose McGowan, or is it McGowan? I don't know how it's supposed to be pronounced, but obviously there's the whole MeToo thing, which is mostly what I'm going to get into today. And it's an issue that requires nuance to properly address. Then, of course, you have her successful film career. And I have to be honest, I like numerous movies that she's appeared in. And she's not even bad in them or anything like that. So, it's not like I'm critiquing her acting or anything of that nature. Unfortunately, however, these days she's increasingly known for some incredibly iffy and bad takes. So, this is basically the whole Me Too phenomenon part of that. And I'm going to put some of that in perspective. I guess I'll call this part one of the Rose McGowan topic. So obviously, Me Too largely happened because there is a rape culture in Hollywood, as it's called. Though that term is a bit misleading, I find, because it's not entirely a rape culture if allegations are regularly allowed to come out. And I'll say there are elements of quote unquote rape culture in which such scandalous behavior was swept under the rug or otherwise downplayed on a consistent basis. So it's not like I'm saying I'm completely anti Me Too or anything like that. I think if you've ever had any kind of life that's worth talking about, you probably have experienced some form of abuse at some point in your life and you wanted to call somebody out on it. So, people are obviously going to do that. That kind of phenomenon actually predates what we call Me Too, so it's not even entirely new. It's also true that victims of sexual assault don't want to come forward for various reasons quite often. Shame can be a factor, or when the accusation involves the rich and famous, as with so much of Me Too, it's because the accusers will be accused of just going after cash. Some accusers have also been accused of seeking more social power because any skeptics might be treated like they're demons or, the working for the proverbial Weinstein defense team or whatever. There's the twin accusation that the only reason victims will talk about sexual abuse is that they want to gain publicity. And of course, the accuser will be hyper scrutinized by the defenders of the accused. You might hear, well, that doesn't sound like something a person who has suffered from abuse would say, etc. And of course, if an accuser releases a book about it or like a tell all book, some will accuse the person of grabbing attention and being cynical. Like the look how brave I am, buy my book or watch my movie or my TV show. Then they might go on a promotional tour and rather than saying some people believe it, others disagree or are unsure, they might accuse all of these skeptics of being abuse apologists or whatever. I don't need telepathy powers to predict all this or a crystal ball. It's not hard to tell how the public will react to any instance like this. It'll usually be mixed, like 9 times out of 10. We can now count on this sort of mixed reaction basically every time such a story comes out. You'll have people who will instantly support the accusation, and other people will, come out and say, "Oh, they must be a liar because I like the celebrity," or something like that. You have these polarized reactions. Now to the part where I just don't really know how to feel. When Rose McGowan was asked about her friend Asia Argento, I believe that's how it's pronounced, or it's Asia Argento, as some might say. But anyway, Asia was accused of making unwanted advances to a minor, and McGowan wrote on Twitter, quote, None of us know the truth of the situation, and I'm sure more will be revealed. Be gentle. Of course, this rather strongly contradicts what was established as the MeToo standard of instantly believing victims, or more typically, believing women. Even before there was a more thorough legal investigation with evidence properly assessed and all of that, the standard was you're just supposed to believe the claim right off the bat, pretty much. And to make matters worse in this case, there was actually a payoff involved between Asia Argento and her apparent victim, which was alternately considered either blackmail money or money to shut the victim up. It wasn't just a few $100 either. It was quite a lot of money. It was a decent chunk of change. Still, regardless of that obvious Weinsteinian, Bill Cosbyan angle, Rose McGowan apologized to Asia Argento right away, shortly after she initially sided with the purported victim. It led many to wonder about the apparent double standard, especially when Asia Argento went on to treat herself as the actual victim in the whole ordeal. Then, of course, there was the debate about the age of consent, which MeToo tends to frown upon, yet people in reality often have these debates when these things make the news. So after McGowan apologized to Asia Argento, again I would say actually rather hypocritically, Argento responded, quote, "Although I am grateful to Rose McGowan for her full apology following her groundless allegations about me, if she had issued it earlier, I may have kept my job on X Factor and avoided the constant accusations of pedophilia, which I've been subjected to in real life and online." So, that's what happens with these Me Too things, that's kind of the point of it. But anyway, McGowan explained her position further. She said, "I got to know Asia Argento 10 months ago. Our commonality is the shared pain of being assaulted by Harvey Weinstein. My heart is broken. I will continue my work on behalf of victims everywhere." So that was on Twitter. Except, of course, in cases of, she'll continue her work, except, of course, in cases where the alleged victims were accusing people she likes or knows and respects, apparently. Now, I could get more into my own personal views on this topic, and some of you might fairly guess where I stand. I think we should believe evidence because any number of people can make any number of claims about anyone. It could be about a serious, violation, or it could be something relatively minor, but, you still don't want to have people potentially lying about you and having others believe it. So that's why I think evidence is very crucial here, and, that's supposed to be what our justice system is founded on, and all that kind of stuff. I also think people sometimes deserve second chances, or maybe even third chances sometimes. And there were other flaws and arguments associated with Me Too. But the point here is not exactly what I think, right? We're talking about popular perceptions and the debate in general, and what many would consider a double standard. It's simply that this was an early sign of Rose McGowan having some questionable takes, and I'm going to get into a few of them if I do a part 2 of this, and maybe even a part 3, and I plan on following up on it at some point. I plan to look at some of her other iffy opinions here in the future, because she made at least one truly mind-boggling endorsement, which I definitely want to talk about soon. Until then, keep it real, or at least keep it less fake than some other people out there. So have a nice day. Adios.